Systems green. Pushing now.
Max Verstappen is one of those names that instantly splits a room. Say he belongs in the same sentence as Schumacher, Hamilton, Alonso, and Senna. And half the comments will clap while the other half loads the keyboard like it's a pit stop. So, let's do this properly. Not with vibes, not with nostalgia, with the one thing fans claim they want until it disagrees with them: evidence. And I'll warn you now, if you're here to hear it's all the car, this is going to get uncomfortable, because the deeper you go, the harder it gets to explain away what Max keeps doing year after year in the same machinery as another professional Formula One driver. The easy part is the headline stuff. Verstappen entered F1 in 2015 and became the youngest driver to start a Grand Prix, then got promoted to Red Bull and won immediately. Spain 2016, becoming the youngest race winner in F1 history at 18 years and 228 days. That's a fun record, but it doesn't automatically mean all-time great. Plenty of drivers arrive young. Plenty flash once. Greatness is what happens after the sport has had time to figure you out. After teams build counterplans, after the pressure becomes normal, after the hype is gone and only execution is left. That's where Max's story stops being youngest this, youngest that, and starts becoming something else entirely, a pattern. Because the real argument has never been, is he fast? Everyone knows he's fast. The argument is always the same loop. He's only doing this because Red Bull is dominant. And to be fair, Formula One is two championships running at the same time. A constructor builds the weapon and the driver fires it. Separate them cleanly and you basically solve F1 debate culture forever. But we can't fully separate them. So, we attack the problem sideways. We look for places where the car can't hide everything. We look for repeatability. We look for what happens when you put another driver in the supposedly same car. We look for the gap that shouldn't exist if the machinery is doing all the talking. So, here are two angles that actually matter. First, consistency. Not did he win, but how reliably can he operate near the limit across different races, different track types, different levels of chaos. Second, teammate comparison. Because whatever political reality exists inside a team, the teammate is still the closest thing F1 has to a control group. Same factory, same engineers, same basic car concept, same weekends, same rule book. Not perfectly identical, sure, but close enough. But if one guy is consistently on another planet for years, you don't get to hand-wave it away as luck or narrative. Now, before we get nerdy, if you like this kind of breakdown where we test the loudest claims fans repeat every week, subscribe. Not because I'm begging. Because if you're the type who enjoys receipts over shouting, you're already the type who subscribes. That's just science. Let's start with the dominant season everyone brings up, because it's one of the cleanest signals we've ever seen. In 2023, Verstappen won 35% of the races. That number is absurd in any era because it means the sport basically had one outcome most weekends and the rest of the grid was fighting for best of the humans. It also means something else. He wasn't just winning, he was closing doors. When you win
Telemetry
that
is
often,
spiking. Confirm
you don't
alignment.
just
Confirm
need
trajectory
pace.
stable monitoring.
You need
Increase gain on
operational
sector 2.
precision,
Copy.
tire
Executing.
feel, race IQ, and the ability to avoid the silly little errors that steal points. And yes, that Red Bull was exceptional. But here's the thing fans avoid. Plenty of great cars have existed. Not everyone converts great car into historic season with that kind of hit rate. Then there's the streak. The word streak is where pressure lives because a streak turns every weekend into a trap. One safety car, one slow stop, one wrong tire call, one tiny mistake, and in 2023 Verstappen put together 10 consecutive race wins, breaking Vettel's previous record of 9. 10 in a row means that for months every rival knew the ending and still couldn't change it. That's not just car advantage, that's also execution under repetitive expectation, the mental grind of being hunted when you're the standard. But okay, someone will say, fine, he had peak machinery. Show me something that isolates him. Good. That's where teammate comparison starts getting brutal. Because if the car is the magic trick, the teammate should be doing at least a decent imitation. And yet, over the Verstappen era at Red Bull, the second seat has become a ghost story. Drivers arrive with reputations, and then the stopwatch embarrasses them. Week after week. It's not just that Max is ahead. It's that the shape of the gap looks structural. Like the car is a language he speaks fluently, while others are still translating word by word. And this is why the built around him argument can be a trap. People say he dominates because the team prioritizes him, but ask the obvious follow-up. Why would a team choose to prioritize someone unless the evidence inside the building screams that he's the best bet? Red Bull doesn't get points for emotional loyalty. They get points for finishing first and second. And for years, they've had a recurring problem, putting anyone close enough to Max to consistently cover strategy, protect undercuts, and steal points from rivals. If the team being built around him was the cheat code, then the second car should still be terrifying. Instead, it's often been vulnerable, which ironically makes Max's job harder, not easier, because he ends up fighting entire teams alone on certain weekends. Now bring it forward, because the modern test of greatness isn't what you do when everything is perfect. It's what you do when it isn't. And the 2025 season, yes, the one that ended with a title fight that came down to the final race, gave us an interesting pressure cooker. Verstappen won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but still finished runner-up in the championship by only 2 points to Lando Norris. That matters for 2 reasons. 1, it shows we've entered a competitive phase where Max can't simply cruise on an advantage. 2, it shows
86.55 plans in 2023. It's just that the Giza will keep pushing.
He was still the guy who could drag a title fight to the last breath. And if you want a snapshot of how relentless that is, look at the numbers. In 2025, he scored 8 Grand Prix wins. 8 wins in a lost season is not a normal runner-up year. That's a season where the margins were about consistency, small swings, and weekends where second or third mattered like oxygen. And here's the part people miss about Max. His driving has always been about converting tiny edges into permanent damage. He doesn't just pass you, he breaks your plan. He doesn't just win. He removes your hope of outsmarting him next time. Watch how often rivals end up reacting to Max instead of acting on him. The best drivers create that effect. Schumacher did it. Hamilton did it in his peak years. Alonso has done it to teammates for a decade. The sport becomes a psychological game where the other guy races the idea of you, not just your car. Now, let's talk about the consistency side in a way that won't put you to sleep. Imagine every race as a messy exam. Weather changes, safety cars, tire degradation, traffic, strategy, resets. If you only look at raw lap times, you're mixing different exams and pretending they're the same. The smarter question is, within the same race conditions, how stable is a driver relative to everyone else dealing with the same chaos? That's why analysts use normalization ideas, basically leveling the playing field inside each race before comparing performance across races. The point isn't to pretend this produces a single GOAT score. The point is to see whether a driver keeps appearing near the top when you measure different aspects of performance, and Verstappen keeps appearing not once, not in one cherry-picked stat, across multiple lenses. And that's where the teammate data and the eye test start telling the same story. Because numbers can tell you that Max is consistently strong, but your eyes tell you what kind of strength it is. It's not chaotic brilliance where he's either a hero or a DNF. It's controlled aggression. It's the way he can run at qualifying intensity in race conditions without frying the tires like most drivers would. It's the way he reads battles 2 corners ahead. It's the way he can adapt midra when the grip moves, when the wind shifts, when the track goes from normal to why is this car suddenly doing that? And when people say anyone could do it in that car, that's where the second seat becomes the courtroom evidence, because Formula One has never been kind to the idea that anyone can extract the same performance. We've seen champions struggle when the car doesn't match their style. We've seen talented drivers look average in certain concepts. A great driver doesn't just go fast. A great driver finds speed in what the car wants and then forces the car to want what he needs. Max
The
has
tire
become
temps are
one of
critical.
the
We need
best
to
in the
adjust.
sport
Agreed. What's the
at
wind data?
dragging a
Tailwind is
car
building. Expect
toward his
understeer.
preference
Increase front
without
wing.
snapping it over the edge. So, where does this leave the big argument? Is he the best ever? Here's the honest answer. You can't prove that with one metric. Different errors, different cars, different calendars, different levels of reliability, different rules, different competition density. Even comparing win totals across eras can mislead you because seasons are longer now and point systems have changed. But we can still say something meaningful without pretending we solved history. As of the 2025 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Verstappen's career total is listed at 71 race wins. Whether you love him or can't stand him, that's not a great driver number. That's an inner circle of all-time number. And it happened while he's still in the middle of his career arc, not at the end of it. The more interesting conclusion is this. If you throw multiple tests at the question, dominant seasons, streak pressure, consistency signals, and teammate gaps, Max keeps landing in the zone where only legends live. That doesn't automatically crown him above Schumacher, above Hamilton, above Senna, above Alonso in his prime. But it does make one claim very hard to defend. The idea that he's merely a passenger of Red Bull machinery. Passengers don't break streak records. Passengers don't turn a not champion year into 8 wins and a title fight decided by 2 points. Passengers don't create a second seat phenomenon so consistent that fans start treating
the data
it
shows
like a
we need to pit
supernatural
earlier,
curse.
but that risks
So
track position.
here's the real
Trust me, it's our
question
best
I'll
shot.
leave you with, and I want you to answer it in the comments in one sentence. No essays. If you put every driver on the current grid in the same car for a season, how many do you genuinely believe beat Max? Not could beat him on a good day, beat him across a full season, across rain, heat, tires falling off, safety cars, dirty air, pressure, and the constant reality that he learns your habits and starts exploiting them by round 3. Name them and be honest. Because if your list is short, really short, then whether you like him or not, you've basically answered the question you were trying to avoid. Max Verstappen isn't just winning. He's reshaping what winning looks like in modern Formula One.